Mississippians. Good evening, Mississippians. We have a second generation in front of us right now. Let me introduce Anika Borua. Hi, Anika, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you so much for joining us. And we're also expecting another guest who is also from the second generation, grown. What do I mean by second generation? Grown and born and raised up in Canada, almost. You were born here, Anika?
Yes, I was born here.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for. So let me clarify the topic we are going to send. I will send you the link after once in a while we start talking. Most of the people probably will be watching it after or later, whenever they're free. So our topic is like, what are the priorities when you're 19 plus? So you grow up here, 18 years, you're adult already. You were an adult in Canadian context, and our kids, they're now no more kids. Yeah, they're always like 9 months old or even smaller, but they are grown up, 19 plus. But their priorities are different than our priorities because I was born in Bangladesh. I am raised in Bangladesh. I am a new immigrant. So dual identity, balancing the independence. You want to be independent. We'll try to be Bangla, English, whatever is comfortable. Family values from the immigrant parents. You're brought up here. I mean, just contextable. See, growing up in Canada, you have this, as I understand from talking to you and others, that you have to priority. The priority is not the same. Your parents, Baba, Ma, parents, dad and mom is thinking something, and you were thinking something. Mainly, you are thinking independence, especially when you are 19, adult. You are thinking self-discovery, mental health, career, exploration. Baba Mar kotha ektai, education, career, BA. এডুকেশন ক্যারিয়ার বিয়ে আর কিছু নাই এবং একটার পর একটা হতে হবে জাস্ট এভরিথিং ইজ সেট আপ স্টেডি অ্যান্ড দে নো আমিও প্যারেন্ট সেই হিসেবে বলছি প্যারেন্টস উই নো হোয়াট ইজ বেস্ট ফর ইউ উই ট্রাই টু সে দ্যাট so I will let you talk definitely on your take about this challenge. We're going to try to touch a few points, 3 4 points a year. Independence, mental health, career exploration, especially career education, রিলেশনশিপ ম্যারেজে ডাইরেক্ট যাচ্ছি না আমি 19 ইয়ার্স এর কথা ম্যারেজের কথা বলে না কিন্তু দে আর ফিলিং ট্যাবু সো দে স্টার্ট টকিং অ্যাবাউট কি বিয়ের কথা কি ভাবছো বিয়ে কিন্তু করতে হবে বাট দে অ্যাকচুয়ালি আর আনকমফোর্টেবল দে জাস্ট ওয়ান্ট টু push you or box you on that idea that don't go for any relationship, think about marriage on that area. We'll pick up that later. I want you to talk about the identity crisis. The priorities are different from you and your parents, right? Talk about that. And I think you are doing some academic work also. You can also mention that. But I'm going to say that before I say that, my last line, that I'll let you talk for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Take your time. And we want to learn from your experience. আমাদের কথা আমরা জানি, আমরা সমাজের কথা শুনতে চাই এবং আমাদের অডিয়েন্সও মেইনলি অনেকেই প্যারেন্টস, দে হ্যাভ সো মেনি ইস্যুজ উইথ কিডস। হাসান মিনহাজ বলেছিলেন যে ইমিগ্রেন্ট প্যারেন্টস, নেটফ্লিক্সে সিরিজ করেছে না, ইমিগ্রেন্ট প্যারেন্টস, ইমিগ্রেন্ট কিডস লাইক ইউ অ্যাডাল্টস, the problem is that you have two hearts in your inside you. You have your parents' heart and you have your own heart, and sometimes the weight is too much. Please, Anika, what do you think?
Yeah. Growing up in Canada has been, I think, very different for me compared to my parents. My parents have always had a good sense of we're Bangla, we're Bengali, we're from the motherland first before we're Canadian. And they do try to push it onto me and my sister. Didi and I, we don't reject it. We love our Bangla heritage. We love being Bengali. But there are innate differences in how mom and dad and me and Didi view the world. A lot of the issue I find with the way that older generations talk about their dual identities is that they
I try to make it easy. Yeah, we are not competitors. Definitely, I know there's so much pain, there is so much stress, and this thing, So, of course, you love your parents, and we love our kids. So, তোমার academic experience একটু বলো যে what's your background, and then It
So
will make you, yeah.
yeah, sure. আমি এখন আর্টসে পড়ছি। আমি কুইন্সে গেছি for something called Global Development Studies, আর আমি ফিলসফিতে মাইনর করেছি। Um, it's the social sciences arts degree. অনেকদিন অনেকদিন হয়েছে যে আমার প্যারেন্টসরা they became okay with it. I
Mhm.
think at first they were very, very against the idea because they're all from the medical field.
Yeah.
Baba is a very well-known pharmacist in the community. মা তো বাবার সাথে তো কাজ করে দিদিও এখানে কাজ করে দিদি's a doctor but she works with Baba right now.
Mhm.
um I'm the outlier in the family. They were saying that it's very difficult to get jobs in the arts, which, you know what, I agree, especially now with our economy and the way that the world looks like right now. It's very hard, but it's my passion. I enjoy it because I see the issues in the world and I feel like I want to make a difference. And I think that's something very different than how my parents thought.
Yeah, if I may, I'm trying to get to the positive point of it. There is a disagreement. All the house, all the kids, they are having this disagreement.
Mhm.
So you agree, you are admitting that there is a problem with clarifying the priorities. Like you have a different priority as a kid, as an adult kid. 19. Think about it. When how old are you right now? In fact.
22.
22. Think about it. So since this has been a long time already, you are
Mhm.
in that boat. You are already in that boat. So yeah, so you are accepting that there is been that. So how do you handle the disagreement? Sort of I stopped you. Sorry for that. I let you again go ahead. So yeah, parents did. You had that moments of frustration, I believe.
Well, I think I remedy the difference in thought by just explaining to them how I feel about the work that I do. I think that the work that I'm doing is important just as much as a doctor or just as much as a pharmacist or just as much as an engineer. I think that I think that social sciences have a lot to contribute and I try to explain that to them. For example, I've been working in multiple NGOs for the past couple of years, at different times, obviously. But mainly my sector has been something called food sovereignty, where the organizations that I work for help people who are low income or unable to access good food. They help grow it. They help people learn how to grow their own food. They help teach those financial literacy skills for people to be able to do that.
Mm.
That's just as important as being a doctor.
Okay.
And that's just as important as being able to dispense medicines to people. And I try to point that out to them. All of this work is equally important.
So yeah, exactly. So well, you don't have to actually prove anything to anyone, but responsibility. Like so, you are actually saying that you want to be independent and you like this career, this passion for it, whatever it is. It can be sports, it can be science, it can be English, it can be doctor, it can be neuroscientist, whatever it is. But Bangladeshi people, I also would like, right? So yeah, so you actually brought up the career part of it. So they want you to have a education choice. Like also some kids I know, it's like masters. You got to do masters. Bachelor's is not enough. Think about it and future. What will you do with the job? So that kind of thing. So how about relationship? On that, like in the beginning, they want you to sort of guide you through, right? Something like that, or compared to your other Canadian friends who are like from different cultures, or maybe white or black or whatever race they are.
Um, When it comes to relationships, my parents don't usually bring them up with me. They think I'm still too young to talk about relationships, which is fair. I do see a large difference in how my parents, I guess they don't talk to me about it versus how my friends' parents do talk to their children about it. Or even some of my friends are very forthcoming and very, very vocal about their relationships and their dating lives with their parents. I'm not the same way. I
Mhm.
also, it wasn't ingrained as a topic in our household. It wasn't something that we talked about really. Um,
Yeah.
I can talk to maybe my sister's experience. My sister's
Okay.
turning 30 this year, and after she got her degree, after she got her doctor's, or she graduated from her university and she got her MD, they've been putting a lot of pressure on her to start looking for a relationship or something just to move forward. But she's been pretty adamant in wanting to build her career first and all of that before moving on. Um, I think that I think that her telling my parents that she wants independence and all of that before she moves into a large relationship and getting married and quote unquote the next steps has definitely helped in establishing some sort of
Boundaries.
yeah,
Okay,
boundaries.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Acha, I mean, let me go back slowly because that's the part where you are too young. I mean, I agree, definitely, or not too young. I don't know. It depends on whatever the approach is. Parents, we need to open up really and make a healthy conversation. But before the career and passion, so it's a tug of war between stability. I mean, actually, self fulfillment. That's what the point was there. This is a common issue. I think my second guest is already waiting. He will be joining very soon. So you had that fight, sort of fight, and so the main way you actually, yeah, what is this independence thing? Independence, getting out of home. I hear some people say like, 18 years old, so I don't want to stay at home. I want to go out. I want to be independent. Is not a problem? Do you feel it, or want to say something about it? আমার ছেলে কিন্তু বলে আমি এখন 14 15 17 আর 2 ইয়ার্স তারপরে আমি থাকবো না কিন্তু তোমার সাথে বলা শুরু করছে এখন আমরা ভয় পাই সো হোয়াটস ইউর টেক
Um, আমার ঘরের ভিতরে সব সময় আমার প্যারেন্টসের সাথে থাকতাম। I would always go with my parents everywhere, to the mall, to on vacation, to other party, to like Bangla parties and all of those things. And I think that they have revolved their lives around my sister and my well-being, mostly mine because I'm younger. And it gets to a point where it might become, I don't want to use the word overbearing, but sometimes it does become overbearing, where I'd like to know what it's like to live outside of my parents' rules and regulations. Obviously, I still have all of their values at heart and whatnot, but being able to leave the house whenever I want to was one thing. Not having to ask for permission to do things was another
well,
thing.
let's pinpoint it.
Yeah.
You get irritated, right? Like what তুমি কোথায় যাচ্ছ কখন আসবা আপু উইকেন্ড তোমার আছে প্ল্যান কি উইকেন্ডে you feel like suffocated. Am I right? Am I right? Is it right? Is it? আমি বেশি বলছি আসলে আমি because I don't want you to say no one is going to say that my parent is my enemy, but you are just dealing with the problem. That's what you're saying, the communication problem. Digonto joins. Thank you, sir, for joining. So Anika, yeah, Digonto, can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So Anika was saying that about this independence. When you are 18, you want to get out of the house. I don't like to stay with it. You are always like I mean, তুমি খেয়েছো? আরে বাবা সকালে ব্রেকফাস্ট করেছো? মানে it's like if sometimes the ভালোবাসাটা মনে হয় যেন too much suffocating. That's what. Am I right or I'm just making it up? Anika, what do you think? Or Diganto, what do you think?
Um, well, I was saying that I don't think that it's always suffocating. I think that there are times where it can be. When I was 18 and trying to learn how to be independent or wanted to get out of the house a little bit more, I wanted to stop asking my parents for permission to do things or learn how to kind of live on my own because those are skills that I wanted to learn. Like মা তো সবসময় রান্না করে আমি যদি না হাউসের থেকে বের হতাম then I wouldn't have been able to learn how to cook or um if I didn't leave the house for university I wouldn't know what having a job and being able to um balance having school and my jobs and having a social life together because before
Finance. Finance also.
হ্যাঁ, I'm very privileged. আমার মা বাবা আমাকে অনেক কিছু দিয়েছে, so I didn't have to worry a lot while I was away. But being able to get out of get out of my parents' house gave me an idea of what it's like to live in the real world. Because I mean, if I'm living in my parents' house all the time and not learning what the outside world looks like, then it's just going to be harder for me when I'm living alone or even when I have kids of my own one day, right?
Okay, okay. I'm not saying you're right. আমরা শুনছি প্যারেন্টস হিসেবে we're listening. দিগন্ত, so independence, yeah, what, please add.
Uh, I'm just gonna join quickly from my laptop. My phone is at like 10%, but I will speak on this point. I completely agree. So um, it's kind of like it's built in like responsibility of the parents to like care for their children. Um, Obviously, and it comes from a place of love, right? When they how are you doing, stuff like this. Even after like I moved out, like I get calls all the time, or my mom would come and drop food off, stuff like that. But it's definitely a life skill to be able to live on your own independently, do your own laundry, uh, make your own doctor's appointments. And sometimes when parents are a little too involved in their children's um, day-to-day life about how to take care of yourself, when they do eventually move out, it becomes a very big almost like a shock, almost like a culture shock. It's like, oh, I have to make my own doctor's appointments. I have to take care of myself now. And sometimes it can be a bad thing. Like there's a lot of relationships I find where it's like some people are expecting their partner to do all these things that their mom and dad used to do.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
oh my God, that's another issue. That completely another big thing. Yeah, yeah. Like মেয়েরা বলে, মেয়েরা বলে যে আমি তোমার, I cannot be your mom, দেওয়ান্ত তুমি জয়েন করো, আসো, I want to hear from you. Computer, yeah, Anika, let's move, let Diganto join from the laptop, please, because I want to, because once he start talking he will not stop, so I want to hear from him also. So okay, disagreement, you were কেমন ছিল বোঝানোটা প্রথম দিকে, এই যে তোমার সাবজেক্ট, স্টাডি সাবজেক্টটা ডিফারেন্ট দেন হোয়াট, আর নাম্বার টু হচ্ছে যে মুভ আউট মানে হচ্ছে একা থাকবো, একা থাকার যে কষ্টটা, এটাও তো তখন একটা আর্গুমেন্ট ছিল যে কেন থাকবা, কোথায় গেলা তুমি, কিংস্টনে প্রবাবলি, ইয়া,
Yeah,
সো
for the last 4 years I was living in Kingston. Um, আমি অনেক করে চেয়েছিলাম যে আমি অন্য কোথাও যাই, like maybe a little bit farther even. But then I thought about it. I still wanted to be close to my parents because that was important. Having that close distance is also important. But hmm, আমি ভাবছি আমি কেমন করে how I can word my thoughts. Um, It was an argument at first. Okay, I'll give you another example. Sorry. In 2022, I got an opportunity for an internship in Yellowknife, very far away, um, across the country, and I had to go alone with another friend of mine. It was a summer-long internship, and my parents were very scared at first, but to this day, I have no regrets in going because it has helped my career so much. Without that internship, I would not have been able to get any of the jobs that I've gotten going forward. Um, and knowing that that opportunity would be that important for me, I had to take it and I had to explain to my parents that way as well.
so you had to actually be very strong. At what point you had to really stand your ground, I believe this is what you were saying politely, that at one point you really had to show that resentment. Yes, no, no means no. That's it. I'm going. Yes meant yes. That's what you had to. It goes to that point somehow. Is it? I mean,
Well, I have always been very outspoken and very defying of my parents, and I think they've gotten used to it. I just had to do a better job of how I was articulating it to them, as I became older. Even now, um, I have to remind myself that I have to say it in a way that appeals to them instead of in a way that only works for me. I think that's something that happens as you grow up, though.
okay, thank you. But please join in. Diganto, I think, has lots of to say. Um, risky, যে বাবা মা বলে যে don't take that, don't take anything like a risky decision. It's not good enough for you, you know, making your education career, going out for yourself, doing independence. এই পয়েন্টটা আমি ব্যাক করছি, এরপরে আমরা মুভ অন করবো অন্য পয়েন্টে। সো দিগন্ত, এই পয়েন্টটা কি, what do you think? I mean, she is saying that she actually had to, it was emotional, as I feel like it was an emotional fight, sort of fight with your heart. প্রথমে আমরা বলেছি যে ইমিগ্রেন্ট প্যারেন্টসদের সাথে কিডস, তোমাদের হচ্ছে হার্ট যেহেতু দুটা, আমাদের হচ্ছে মানে হচ্ছে ইউ হ্যাভ টু ক্যারি টু হার্টস, আম্মুর হার্ট, বাবার হার্ট, অ্যাকচুয়ালি ইউর হার্ট, থ্রি হার্টস। ইটস টু মাচ ওয়েট অন ইউর on your chest.
I wanted to mention. Can you guys hear me? Thumbs up. Okay. So I wanted to make one more point that I was thinking about recently. So when I was in high school, I really wanted to work. I really wanted to get a job, just Canadian Tire, Tim Hortons, McDonald's, whatever, so I could pay for soccer and other passions that I had, video games, stuff like that. But my parents were adamant that I wasn't allowed to work in high school. They were like, focus on studies. You don't have to work. You don't have to work. And I don't have a lot of regrets in life, but it's one of those things where I wish I was more defiant and just went anyway, because I would have learned at a young age the value of money and how to save and what kind of labor I have to put in to get what kind of money. Like, it would have made a little more sense in my head why my parents were pushing me so much to get a higher education. It's little things like that. I'm fortunate enough that I started cooking when I was like 10, 11, 12. So it's a skill that I've been working on I've been cooking since that age, and I'm a very good cook, I will say myself, and my friends can vouch for me. I know a lot of people who are our age, in their 20s, in their 30s, who can barely, they have to eat out. And here's the thing, it kind of snowballs into a problem. When you can't cook for yourself and eat at home, you're going to spend more money eating out and be more unhealthy eating out. Which ties into another topic I'd like to talk about, which is the health and fitness.
Yeah, we're coming there, but stay here. I'm trying to pinpoint, because as a parents, I'm listening. I'm not judging you from the parents' point of view, but the parents, don't you feel that pressure that parents have, প্রত্যেকটা আর্গুমেন্টে থাকে যে parents feel like they're failure. Parents বলছে যে I'm confused. I mean, I am 50 years old and you are only 20 years old. I'm 40 years old. I have seen life. I was there. এই যে প্রেশারটা, don't you feel like emotional একটা, it's too much stress on you? How do you deal with it?
A lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. I felt that if I didn't earn myself a university degree, I was a failure, and that's how it was in the eyes of my family, in the eyes of right. I don't regret not going to university. I learned a lot, and I enjoyed my time at Carleton thoroughly. But it's a lot of pressure, especially as an only child.
ওকে, তারপরের পয়েন্টে যাই। অনলি পয়েন্ট যে ফ্রেন্ডের কথা হয়তো দেখেছো, অনেক সময় কথাই আছে কনভারসেশনে, আনিকা ইউ ক্যান জয়েন ইন, যে বলা হয় যে আই ওয়ান্ট টু লাইক আই ওয়ান্ট টু টেক এ ব্রেক of semester, 1 semester, 2 semester, gap of years, switching majors. I don't like this subject. সাথে সাথেই তো you will be like, oh my god, this is like the end of the world, like the failure, everything comes back again, like from the parents. So you have been micromanaged, I think. আমি জানি না আমি কিভাবে এটা কন্ট্রোল করব. So don't, am I right that people, you feel like people, your parents are actually micromanaging you on this? We need some example, please, from your friends' idea.
After I graduated high school, I wanted to travel. I wanted to travel for a bit before I'm a very free-spirited person. I wanted to go to Europe or South America, somewhere, and just like take a backpack with a few belongings and just travel. But my parents were, especially my mom, she was adamant that I go directly to university. She said, if you take a year off school, you will never go back to school. So once you finish high school, directly to university. That's the only option I had.
No, but how do you deal with it? The people, you need to say something, Anika, or you, the same.
Well, you need to have a support system, right? Like, you need to have friends, cousins, aunts, uncles, who, despite what your parents say, sometimes you can push back and
come on, uncle cannot be better than your parents. Come on,
dreams. Well, sometimes your parents say no, somebody else will say yes.
Oh, okay. And Anika?
For me, I didn't want to do a gap year between high school and university, but now that I'm almost close to graduating university, the more and more I think about it, I don't want to go back to school just yet. I think that's still an option, but in the near future. My dad has been asking me if I want to do an MBA or if I want to do a master's, and I
Oh
keep
my
saying,
God. Oh my God. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, I think oh my goodness, every couple of days he'll ask, Annie, you don't want to do a master's? You should do an MBA. And I'm like, Baba, I don't know what I'm gonna do with an MBA. Like I had an arts degree, and I think that shift to an MBA might not be for me. And honestly, I think that there are better options. If I wanted to get an MBA, I might as well get it when I have a job that would pay for it. But either way, I digress. The way that I remedy that is I talk to my older cousins a lot.
Mhm.
I talked to my didis and dadas a lot about how they managed with their parents, and a lot of the times my baba will go to my dada, one of my dadas, and he'll be like, "Look, Annie doesn't want to do this. Can you convince her?" And they'll have my back. My dada will have my back, and that puts it into perspective because that dada of mine, who my dad always goes to, he's in his 40s, 30s or 40s, I'm not sure, but he has a lot of experience, but he
Mhm.
also knows what it's like to be that first generation immigrant, but also someone who grew up in North America at the
Yeah.
same time. So it's much easier for my dad to see the sides of my didis and dadas than it is for him to see mine. And not that it's a bad thing, it's just they have a closer perspective than me and Baba do, at least.
Yeah. Sometimes same thing. If they get the same message, listen to it from someone they trust, that then they give it some thought. যেটা বলা হচ্ছিল একটু আমি কোথায় জানি দেখছিলাম যে যে কবি কবি মানে বাত সমঝনে কে লিয়ে, যেটা বল হিন্দিতে বলা হয়, মানে তুমি কি বলছো, আমার বাচ্চা কি বলছে, এটা বোঝার জন্য বাপ মাকে একটু সময় দিতে হয়, ওয়াক্ত লাগে, তাদের একটু ওয়াক্ত দিতে হয়, সময় দিলেই প্রবাবলি দে উইল আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড, বাট সময়টা দিতে চায় না। So sometimes probably what we are saying from here is that if there is a disagreement on this type of issues, on future stability, probably directly, without saying directly no, it's better to delay the answers or delay the decision making. Am I right, Diganto or Anika? We need some tips again for the kids who is having that argument what you had tonight or to this weekend, they had this argument already.
Well, I always tell my dad that that's not a decision that I want to make right now. I'm definitely thinking about it. You've put it into my brain. I'm thinking about it, but at least let me finish the rest of my undergrad first. I have one more semester. Let me finish that. I'll move on. Maybe let me get a job first and see what it's like in getting a job and whether or not I like having a job before I move to to an
Mhm.
MBA.
Mhm.
The option always isn't always
Really,
going to
yeah.
be
দিগন্ত
school.
তোমার কি মনে হয়, or friends আর ইয়ে থেকে?
I was gonna say the same thing that if a person doesn't know what they want to do in the moment, that's okay. That's something that a lot of Bengali, like I know, Bengali parents want the best for us, and that's where that comes from. That you should do this, you should do this, and they have obviously they have a lot of experience. They've been through a whole lifetime, twice a lifetime of us, but
No, no, I really respectfully counter it. I want to counter it. আমি বলি, I tell my kids, no, no, I don't know everything. You know better than me because I did not do my high school here. You
mm,
have been gone. I mean, you know the stress. You are going through this undergraduate life, right? This
but unfortunately, not every Bengali parent thinks like that.
No, no, they have to understand. This is the fact. How can you say I know better than you? I am not Canadian. I did not do my university here. The challenge and the option, you have the whole platter in front of you. We did not have this platter. And now from the dinner buffet, you have the choice how to eat healthy. We only had a few choice, right? How do I know? I mean, this Canadian life. You are an adult and I was an adult. As a parent, honestly, I don't think parents knows better. But like because I am a parent, seriously.
Yeah. Well, like I said, um, I graduated from Carleton, and I I still have been weighing my options. It's been a 2 or 3 years now, but it's still an option for me to go back to school and do my MBA or do a
Mm.
master's in something. Um, but I have to weigh out my pros and cons, right? You shouldn't make a decision hastily. I don't think anyone should, especially a big decision like this. But it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of brain power, a lot of commitment. and money. But that's what some people need to understand is like when their kids don't know what they want to do, you shouldn't pressure them into a decision or into an undergrad or into a degree, because then they're gonna. Who makes a decision under pressure, right? A good decision.
Mhm.
Never. It's never a good decision. You have to be
Okay,
in the right
okay.
state of mind to make it.
So burnout ব্যাপারে একটু কথা বলতে চাচ্ছিলাম কারণ burnout is an issue really. This is what troubles, like I don't understand parents, Bangladeshi parents never understand burnout কিসের আমরা এত প্রেসারে করছি নো I was in Dhaka, এই করছি হ্যান করছি আমি আমেরিকা গেছি রাশিয়া গেছি চায়না গেছি and then look at me, I'm standing in front of you. কিসের burnout পোলাপান একটু স্ট্রেস দিতে পারো না? Burnout নিয়ে একটু কথা বলো, is it true? How do you deal it?
Um, okay, so yeah, burnout is something that happens when you are working all the time, and you don't take care of your mental health, take time away, take time to yourself to recharge your battery, um, and eventually you run out of the motivation or you run out of the energy. It's more of a mental thing. Um, Sometimes it can be a physical thing too, sometimes both, but people experience it in everything: school, work. Um, uh, it just happens when you don't take a break and take time for yourself.
So
Yeah.
how do you deal it with your parents? Do they understand that, or you have to explain it? Or how do you explain, Anika?
Um, I have to explain it. I have to explain it in a very in a comparative way. Mental health is not something that we actively talked about growing up, but as adults, it's become more of an issue because I've been burnt out for a really long time, and it's manifested into me needing to take an extra semester for
Mm,
school. Um, and I think that I think that what I had to do, honestly, is show my parents how burnt out I was instead of hiding it. Because for a long time, at least when I was in high school or the beginning of my university, I tried to like push it down, but then
mm,
ultimately it just keeps getting worse and worse. But the more vocal I am with them about how I'm feeling and how it manifests into my body, the more and more they can learn to understand what it's like to be burnt out. And it's not that they don't understand what it is. I see a lot of the work that they do causing them burnout. It's just they tend to suppress it and
mhm,
it manifests into health issues. And now I worry a lot about my parents' health, and it's the same thing for them, for
mm,
me, because now I explain to them how if I'm feeling very anxious because of how much work I haven't done in the last couple of weeks because of how stressed I've been and that I've been procrastinating, and I tell them, oh, hey, like my stomach has been hurting nonstop for the last 2 weeks. I've had a constant migraine for the last three.
mm,
I feel nauseous every single day. They get to know. They get
mm.
to know what it's like to have those symptoms. And they also you have to communicate it in order for them to understand. And I think that's one thing that a lot of second generations don't do with their parents enough.
Okay, okay.
Communication. Yeah.
Digonto also, I agree. I mean, I was listening to CBC, and there are Bangladeshi kids in CBC Ottawa even. They are talking about it, mental health. If you ask for it, if you even reach out for mental health, people, your parents and your community will be like, oh my God, such a, I mean, are namaz poro, go to the religion, go to the mosque, play soccer, everything will burn out. It's simple, it's easy. What's my mental is our key issue. But do you feel that, or I don't know actually? This is what I hear.
So I would like to bring up one point. I find, at least in my family, sometimes parents they like to compare our experiences with their own. Unfortunately, and sometimes they, in the process, invalidate how you're feeling, which can be a reason for kids to not want to speak to their parents, right? Like some people will speak to their parents, "Hey, I'm feeling this way. I'm burnt out for this reason." But when your feelings are invalidated growing up, when you speak out about them, it makes you want to, like Anika said, push it down, right? And unfortunately, that's something that should be changed. Like I think moving forward as the generations go on, like You need to create a space where your kids feel validated when they speak to you. They feel
Mm,
safe when they speak to you. You know, like you can't, if you're a kid and you tell your parents, I'm so stressed from school, I've been binge eating or I've been watching TV
mm,
because my brain is trying to deal with it in that way.
mm. Oh my God, yes.
And then if your parents say, "Oh, really? আমি ইউনিভার্সিটিতে আমি 7টা 8টা কোর্স নিয়েছি আমি
Right.
অন্য দেশে গিয়ে খাওয়ার
Yeah,
পয়সা ছিল না."
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
dude, it's a
yeah.
different experience. Just
Different
because your
experience.
experience was a certain way doesn't mean that my experience isn't valid, right?
So I get this point. Someone is in the said, Anika, just to help out the conversation, that you guys are saying that dad or mom, the way you treat fever, because fever, you understand, is the physical condition, right? That's the way I am treating my stress. Like you, it's a condition. I need to treat it somehow. I'm not saying that you take medication, but you gotta address it somehow and you gotta solve it. So that's what I'm hearing from you. Okay,
I
okay,
want to touch on your point about the religion stuff.
yeah, yeah, please.
I think that it's very important to have a mix of Western practices to deal with your health and also practices from back home. I did find that coming back and being able to do prayers with my
Yeah.
family and in community did help a lot when I was stressed. Like we've had a lot of shongodans in the last couple of weeks for whatever reasons, and sitting in community, like hearing the prayers, meditating, all of that helps a lot. But
Nice.
you can't have them distinctly. They need to work together. And especially as people who are both Canadian and Bengali, you should be doing both. It's not one or the other, it's both.
But yeah, yeah, and you have the right to say, yeah, like nothing, anything too much is not good. I mean, it's okay. Like আমি 2 hours maybe prayer করলাম. You're supposed to be expected, but someone said, no, no, after 1 hour I don't feel like. So next week I'm not going there. It's okay. Let them. That's what I am trying to say, and I believe that we should let our kids, because you're adult. Man. Come on, man, you're adult. So I cannot force you on something. So I gotta, you gotta come to religion if it's a piece for you, and you gotta invent it, you gotta feel it by yourself. I cannot just keep telling you like blah 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 blah, so all the time. It's gonna not, I don't think it's gonna work. But okay, আমি লাস্ট পয়েন্টে আসবো। সে পয়েন্টে যেটা আমাদের ট্যাবু যেটা বলা হয়, রিলেশনশিপের ব্যাপারটা বলা, বিশেষ করে আনিকা একটু বিগিনিং এ বলেছিল রিলেশনশিপের কথাটা, যে বিকজ শি ইজ টু ইয়াং, 22 years old, শি ইজ নট টু ইয়াং অ্যাকচুয়ালি। I I went to the passport office the other last week, and the girl, she's from Norway and she's serving me. She's saying I am the youngest and I am 22 years old. She's completely independent, and she's thinking to go back to masters and doing very normal conversation. Point is that what I'm trying to say that, but I don't think she's young for a relationship. You are 22. I mean, so the way how you are how you are facing it actually when you are 19 plus. Remember, you are not 14, you are not 15, you are 18. You are actually 19 years old. Compare your friend who is you, or I don't know, any friend out of your 10 friends who are not Bangladeshi, non-Bangladeshi friends, maybe 5 or 6 is already dealing it as a mature. Does not mean that they are actually in relationship. They are choosing abstaining from anything, right? Any relationship or extramarital, premarital emotional intimacy. It's not physical. We're talking about emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy is very important, remember, right? So yeah, Anika wanted to say something. This is our last point, sort of. Yeah.
Well, just to say, like before, my parents didn't grow up, or I didn't grow up listening to a lot of stuff about relationships from my parents. But one thing that they made very clear growing up is নিজের পায়ে দাঁড়াও তারপর করো. And I think that's a very important part of being in relationships. And especially as a young adult, a lot of people rush into their relationships and it's not very conducive for their lifestyles and whatnot. And I look at a lot of other people who rush themselves into relationships. They don't have their own stable job. They don't have the emotional maturity. And it's hard to see because I know that they're going to end up hurting other people. But to have grown up and heard নিজের পায়ে দাঁড়াও তারপর relationship গুলো করো, I I like hearing that because it gives me the autonomy to be able to learn when I am ready and when I want to do
So,
it.
but Anika, what you were saying is actually that's what your head is saying. But relationship is about heart. Sometimes the people do not. We don't want to like disrespect the people who are actually like driving to that relationship. Maybe it's a proper. We don't know. We cannot judge it. So heart, no one has control over heart, right? দিগন্ত, can you hear me? দিগন্ত এই চান্সে মনে হয় আস্তে করে চুপ করে positive. Sometimes staying quiet is a good technique, you know. Then I did not say anything, something like that. So Digonto, what do you think about? I think he's in a public place, so he's trying to make space for it. Okay. So Digonto, did you hear what we were talking about? Yeah.
Sorry, my laptop hasn't been charging this whole time, so
Oh, oh,
the plugs aren't working. It's okay. It's okay. I have like
okay.
40% battery.
It's okay. We're
So
almost finished. All done. 5-10 minutes maximum. So question was like the relationship. So Anika is saying that nijet paye darao. You use your head before you move to an emotional intimacy. But I'm saying that but heart has no control. Your head is thinking something, but your heart is saying go. So this
so
away
I
from parents.
I
Yeah.
agree and disagree. I agree in the way that I think that people shouldn't go into relationships until they're okay and happy and settled by themselves. So I agree with Anika completely on that part, but I disagree in the way that if you don't go and meet people, if you don't try these things, you will never learn what kind of person you're compatible with and what kind of person you're not compatible with, right? And
Very
from
thin line, very thin line. This is very thin line, thin, very. So you gotta have confidence about yourself, sort of.
right, I find okay, so you will learn a lot from your relationships. You will learn a lot. You will learn what kind of person you want to be with, what kind of red flags. I find a lot of people who rush into relationships, rush into marriages, whatever, by themselves or under pressure from their parents. They end up with somebody who they're not compatible with. They end up with somebody who can't communicate, who can't look after themselves or take care of their partner, um, right? Or they don't see the red flags. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a learned experience. Okay, I this happened with this person. Okay, now I know that I cannot be with somebody who doesn't live this kind of lifestyle or
yeah.
can't communicate in a healthy way. Just stuff like that. So I agree, but I also disagree.
However, let's a good answer. Let's put it this way. I don't want to put you on spotlight, but definitely you decide your what. Like, but the thing is, but is it selective transparency? But with some people, some kids are actually dealing it with their parents because we're talking about how you handle disagreement, right? How you handle. So maybe you like someone and someone is really in love. That Digonto is saying that maybe you are like trying that relationship at a certain level. So how do you deal with your parents? Because your parents are not comfortable. They are actually talking about directly about বিয়ে, যেটা বললাম সবসময় ডাইরেক্টলি বলা হয় বিয়ে। আরে বিয়ের আগে তো অনেকগুলো স্টেজ আছে, জানতে হবে তো, বুঝতে হবে তো, আমার দায়িত্ব বুঝতে হবে তো, আমি কি একজনের টেক কেয়ার করতে পারবো একটা ছেলের, আমি কি একটা মেয়ের টেক কেয়ার করতে পারবো মেন্টালি, হ্যাঁ, সেই জিনিসটা তুই না বুঝেই আমি ডাইরেক্ট বিয়েতে যাবো কেন আমি, তাই না? তো এইটার জন্য তোমাকে গ্র্যাজুয়ালি আসতে হবে। তো তখন মানে বলা হয় যে আমি আমার ফ্রেন্ডশিপ। তারপরে আস্তে 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 যখন প্যারেন্টসরা একটু প্রিপেয়ার করে নেওয়া আর কি, তারপরে দেন ইউ এক্সপোজ দ্যাট ওকে I am not friend. We are not friend actually. We are more than friends. At a certain point. So this is the one way of dealing with it. If you are really having or experimenting or going through a relationship, um, how do you handle disagreement when you are with disagreement with your parents? Am I right? Am I saying something? My question is a little clear. Okay then. So how do you say when how to handle relationship এই যে ডিলেমাটা উইথ প্যারেন্টস ইউ মাস্ট আস্ক। আমরা বলি কি, আরে আম্মু সব তোমার বেস্ট ফ্রেন্ড, আম্মুকে সবকিছু বলো, বাবা তোমার বেস্ট ফ্রেন্ড, বাবাকে সবকিছু বলো। I don't think this works. Does it work really? You don't know.
I
What's the
don't
right
have
answer?
much experience on
Yeah,
this, so I'm not sure how to respond.
yeah.
Um, hmm. Okay, so I'll say a couple things. I find that in the Bengali community, there's a split between how much freedom is given to males and how much female freedom is given to females. And this is something I very much disagree with. Like it bothers me personally, but I find that I've had my parents tell me indirectly once that if I was born a girl, they would not have given me as much freedom as I have.
Hmm.
To have my own car, to travel, to stay out and go do stuff. And I disagree with this.
No, no, Anika, do you agree that? I don't think so. Nowadays, everyone has same.
I think that the way that boys and girls are raised is very different from each other. I from my parents and my extended family, I see differences, but I don't know if it's to the degree that Digonto is talking about.
Hmm.
But I still do see differences. I think that it's also a large South Asian brown people problem though, because of I don't know why, but I think that it's a larger problem.
We don't know the solution. No, we're not looking for solution. But are you saying that like একটা মেয়ে যদি প্রমে যেতে চায় 16-এ বাবা মা অনেক সমস্যা, একটা ছেলে যদি যায় প্রমে বাবা মা বলে যাও 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 যাও, এরকম একটা ব্যাপার কি মানে এই কনফিডেন্সটা নাকি আই এম রং, আই এম আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং ইট রং? লাইক সামথিং এক্সাম্পল দরকার আমাদের, মানে মেয়ে কোথায় মেয়ের বাধা পায়? ও রাত 10টার পরে আসলে খুব চিন্তা, বাবা আম্মু খুব গম্ভীর হয়ে যাচ্ছে। No, you were with your best friend, you were with your, I mean with the girls or whatever, the girls you, আমি যেটা বলি অনার্স স্টুডেন্ট, you are if you are an honor student or if you are a B plus student, I mean I don't know, with a good crowd, you should be always with a good crowd and the crowd that you can trust. uh, Anyway, I think we are not going to go anywhere because this is still a open issue. ওকে, আমি কি লাস্ট কোশ্চেনে যাব তাহলে? যে লাস্ট কোশ্চেনের দিকে যাই আমরা। We're thinking, by the way, Anika, it looks like you are thinking, Digonto, you are thinking, we'll come back to মেন্টাল হেলথের ব্যাপারে, ফিজিক্যাল সেলফ কেয়ারের ব্যাপারটা বলা হচ্ছিল, যে ব্যাপারটা আমরা আসলে বুঝি না অনেক সময়। বাবা আমরা বলে খাও খাও খাও, একদিন খেলে কি হয়, হ্যাঁ, তারপর জিমে যাচ্ছ, নো নো রাত 10টার সময় কেন জিম করছো, ভোর 5টার সময় এটা কেন জিম করছো? Digonto, you wanted to say something about physical exercise, gym, uh, to the parents. Basically you are actually talking to the parents of someone, right? Some adult kid. So what do you want to talk to them about this self-care?
I have a lot to say on this topic. A
Last
lot.
question, yeah, 5 minutes, please. Yeah.
Okay, um, so physical, mental health. We've talked about mental health a bit, and now let's talk about the physical part. Yeah. So I have a few theories, and I've also done some research on this. But even to this day, my mom will tell me I'm too skinny. Too skinny. আরো খেতে হবে, আর একটু ওজন বাড়াতে হবে. I've been an athlete since I was like 12. I know my body very well. I take care of my body, and I know that I've had to have repeated talks with my family about this, saying like, please don't comment on my body. Please don't tell me I need to eat more. I can take care of myself. I know myself, right? And I have a few theories. I think it's been passed down generational. Like, it probably happened to my mom through her mom, and my grandma through my great grandma. I don't know if it's because we had some famines in Bangladesh in the 1900s.
Good question. Yes, good, I understand.
Right,
Yes.
where you have to feed your kids as much as you can and hope that they survive, right? And that's been passed down. Okay, আমি যদি আমার বাচ্চাগুলোদের অনেক খাওয়াই ফেলি বড় হওয়ার সময়, then they will survive to adulthood, right? So here's another thing. Historically speaking, well, I'll talk about my family because I know them. Past my grandparents, my great grandparents and on, they're all farmers. They're all from the gram. They're farmers, fishermen. So they had a lot of manual labor in their day-to-day life. You have to go chop wood. You have to go get water from the well or from the river. You have to milk the cows. You have to shovel stuff, right? So obviously তখন অনেক ভাত খেতে হতো যেন পুরো দিন কাজ করতে পারো, right? But now look at the modern jobs we have. We sit on laptops all day, right? We very stationary.
Yeah, but I will hold you there, right there, because you were saying
The point I'm trying to make is our lifestyle has shifted from the last 100 years, from a more physically demanding life to a relatively easier life with technology and whatnot. How come our diet hasn't shifted to match that. And
So
I
no, my point is that am our parents, your parents, dumb? They're smart. They are not staying in the same. They're not paying the same formula. Economic, finance, getting a job. They're working in like the Canadian government, right, or somewhere, Statistics Canada, or somewhere, Defense Canada. That time they're using all their IQ and all their emotional intelligence, but when feeding my kid, I am not applying my emotional intelligence. That does not count. I don't think this is a good logic. Definitely, this is done out of bhalovasha, out of out of caring, too much caring. To একটা গাছের যত্ন নিতে গাছের চারা, the plant seed, too much watering, too much করলেই গাছটা বড় হয়ে যাবে. Anika, am I right, or you agree with Diganto?
So I think that I have a similar problem, but the opposite. Growing up, I've always been told that I have had need to lose weight, not that I need to gain it. And I think I gained a lot of weight in my first couple of years of university. I think it's normal. But recently, after coming back and like going to the gym, everyone's been telling me, Annie, তুমি তো অনেক রোগা হয়ে গেছো. And I'm like, okay, and this commentary is just not necessary.
Yeah.
I see it a lot from all of the aunties and a lot of the aunties especially,
Yeah.
not so much the uncles, but they're always commenting on the young girls' bodies saying,
Yeah.
"ও অনেক মোটা হয়ে গেছে, এটা ওইটা," and I'm like,
Yeah.
they're
I-
becoming, they're growing, they're eating as per their heart's desire. I don't think that it's something that we should talk about negatively. I think there is a point where it comes from concern for health, but it can be just concern for health. It doesn't have to be "Oh, অনেক মোটা হয়ে গেছে." It can be,
No,
"Are you
everything is
eating
convincing.
good?"
যেটা বলছি ছোট করে যেমন yeah, sorry, you agree what she's saying, right? Parents actually, we have to treat you adults. That's the point. They never treat you as an adult, I feel like, because if it was a neighbor's daughter or my young colleague, it's possible. I have a young colleague who is 22 years old. Possible, right? Anikar moto. I would not talk to her about her body and whatever, her image, body image. Diganto, maybe. Yeah, I'm not talking to Diganto. Hey guys, you are getting fat, or you need to do. So I gotta maintain that line as an adult, right?
it's a for me it's a respect thing. Uh, like it's
Yeah, I wouldn't go to an auntie and uncle and say, "Hey, তুমি অনেক মোটা হয়ে যাচ্ছ." Like that's rude. So
Mhm.
it's still rude when an older person says it to a younger person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there needs to be mutual respect between people, regardless of gender, regardless of age. Um, I've been fortunate enough to travel to different places in the world where I've witnessed different age, different genders giving each other mutual respect and space to speak and listen and learn. Whereas I find sometimes in the Desi community, there's a lot of I'm above you, I'm older than you, so I will
Yeah.
say stuff to you, and you
Yeah.
have to
Right.
just sit there and listen to it.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate, really. It has to change.
No, yeah. Also, when I accept you as an adult, and then I am talking to you as my colleague, not as someone who is like আমার থেকে কম বোঝে, না হলে আমি যদি তুমি আমার মতোই বুঝে, আমি যেটা বলছি মাঝে মাঝে, I am not the best person, by the way. I'm just saying as a conversation, as a point of argument. That helps. Like আমার সাথে যখন কেউ একজন আমাকে important একজন আমার মতটাকে, what I am saying, she is actually listening to it. It empowers me and makes me think positively. It's very constructive. It creates more force. It enforces my energy to build, not to not to hide myself, but to expose myself for something better. So that's what you are expecting, and you are saying that as a parent we need to do that. Um, uh, বাবা মা আসলে মনে হয় ভয় পায়, এই যে ভয় পায়টা যে কি বাচ্চাদেরকে হারিয়ে ফেলবো, এই একটা ভয়, মানে মানে সেই ভয় কি যে হারিয়ে যাবে, এই যে দিগন্ত বাসা থেকে বেরিয়ে গেল, আল্লাহ তুমি কোন ইউনিভার্সিটি চলে গেলে, মেয়েটাকে আমি হারিয়ে ফেললাম চোখে মুখে। আমিও বলি আহা বাসায় থাকলে তো সকালে আই ক্যান সি ইউ, at least I can see your face in the morning, at least I can see your face at night, or at least I can look at you during the weekend, at least I can touch you. And otherwise this makes parents so relieved. ব্যাপারটা কি এরকম নাকি ব্যাপারটা আসলে ছোট হয়ে যাওয়ার ভয়? অনেকে ভেরি নেগেটিভ অর্থে বলতে হচ্ছে যে বাবা মা বারে বারে বলছে যে ইউ বি বেটার, বাট I am saying something without understanding the Canadian context, and at the end, Anika, you have to be a doctor. What if Anika is not a doctor? She is a social scientist, and at the end of the day, she will enter in a fantastic life and happy life, and she will prove me wrong, and then I don't like it as a parent. No, no, no. I told you, you will only be successful. Success is only when you are a lawyer and you become a soccer player. You actually are happy and content, and you are like doing whatever you feel like, and you don't miss anything. Oh, that actually is something negative for me. Uh, so, which one is right? Is it ভালোবাসা, or is it আমি যা বলেছি very constructively, you gotta follow it? If you don't follow it, then you must fail, or you don't fail, but I don't accept it that you can win.
From my perspective, I think it's a mix of, at least when my parents came here, they were very young and they didn't get a chance to have a good um relationship with their parents from far away. And I think that that's probably the psychology of it. But I also, when we have those conversations of any বের হতে হবে না, বাইরে যেতে হবে না, এটার জন্য, I say, but when you were my age, you moved across the country to pursue your dreams. I think I deserve the same experience. Um, I also think it does come from a place of love, where they do want to make sure we're okay. But again, it does become overbearing because they had the experience of being able to leave the house and make opportunities for themselves. I should have the same opportunities. I shouldn't be stopped from it just because my parents are telling me it's not a good idea. Because if you did the same thing, if your
Yeah,
parents told
yes,
you,
right.
if
Yeah,
your
yeah,
parents told you no, you
yeah,
still did it anyways.
yeah, yeah. Okay, Adrianto, what did you say?
Um, yeah, I
Just
pretty much I agree completely. I think it's my parents left Bangladesh when they were 18 to a country in Europe, and then we moved to Texas together, and then we came here. So, but I will say this, Anika, that I just thought of while you were saying this. Is it possible that our parents' attachment to us is a form of homesickness?
Probably.
Because
interesting point.
I think about it a lot with my mom because my mom's mom passed away when my mom was 16. So I think that having the relationship that she does with me and my sister is very important to her because she didn't have that mother figure growing up. And I try to very much incorporate that into how I view my mom and how I see the relationship she has with us. It might be a little overbearing, but she didn't have a mother figure past 16, so she doesn't really know.
Yeah,
But I try
yeah.
to include that. Yeah.
Yeah, good, good. Even if you don't miss anything, anyone, the author is saying that I am missing my Bangladesh, right? I'm missing all that closeness. Yeah, maybe that's why we don't want you guys to stay far away. We want to keep you guys close to heart, close to our view. Last comment. Okay, আমরা শেষ করি আজকে অনেক গল্প করলাম. Thank you for joining and making the time.
Can I
Digonto had
add
to
a
go for
point
taking.
quickly?
Yeah, yeah, please.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, the homesickness part I think is really important because I think it's very hard for my parents or a lot of Bengali parents to find that home away from the home that they've built because ঘরে আমরা তো বাংলা কথা বলি, আমরা
Mhm.
বাংলা খাবার খাই, আমরা একসাথে
Mhm.
মন্ত্রগুলো পড়ি, like all of these things. We have joint memories together about all of these Bengali cultural things. You
Yeah.
can't necessarily find that outside of the home. And
Mhm.
to ask your kids to stay home prolongs that, but
Mhm.
you have to also be okay with letting it go. Sorry, I'm gonna
No,
interrupt করেছি।
no, you will say the last comment definitely, but you're right, definitely. But I think this thing will thin out in the third generation. When you grow at 50, think about it. 50 and 40, you will not hold up. You will not hold your kids that long. They will just let them go. Let them go as soon as Probably, right? It will thin out. It's third generation.
I
Okay, Digant,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think about that a lot. As someone who lives in a country that's as multicultural as we are, finding someone who's also of the same culture, same religion, same ethnicity, whatever, it's hard.
Yes.
You'll have to teach your kids as that second generation immigrant, your third generation kids, so much more, and you need to learn so much from your parents already. What we
Mm.
have already is a lot, but I don't think it's enough to keep the traditions going,
No, I
unfortunately.
don't think so. I believe so. I have accepted it. There is no guarantee that it will continue. You may end up, I don't know, any culture. Hopefully, definitely, I want Bangladeshi. I want Anika, Digonto, but there is no guarantee. As long as the condition is that, as long as you are happy, staying in Bangladeshi culture is not important as much as it is important that you are happy in your life moving forward. And choosing your life partner. That's a different discussion. But today, we're going to ask you last comment, please, 30 seconds. Last comments to the parent, actually. Can you talk to that parent who is having trouble understanding their adult kids? What should they do? One or two things. Please give them two tips to that parent, to that house where they're having really some unpleasant, unhappy, stressful comments and arguments about their choices. The adult kid wants to do something, and the parents probably is trying to, I don't know, trying to make peace with it. So you want to give some tips. How do those parents should deal with their adult kids who is 19 plus? Last comment, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, please.
I think my two pieces of advice would be number one is listen and don't judge. I think I think you'll go a long way with your adult children if you just sit there and you listen. You don't put your 2 cents in until they ask. The judgment is innate. That's what we do as humans, but you have to pause before you do that. And I think the second thing that I've been trying to incorporate more into how I view life is fear is the opposite of love. My parents, for a lot of their lives, they'll say, I'm very scared for you to do this. But if you're scared and you're stopping me from having these opportunities, these experiences, that's not out of love. And if you were not to manipulate them, but if you were to truly love me, you would allow me to have the experiences and the opportunities that I see fit for me. I try to say that to all of my friends and how they view their friendships, relationships as well.
Thank you, Anika. With that note, I also want to put from the parents' point of view, it's okay to do mistake. You cannot guarantee that your choice will be the right choice. Maybe the parent was right, maybe holding up, but maybe you end up doing a mistake and then you come back to your parents. That's okay. The most beautiful thing being a human is that we are allowed to do mistake, but we should be, that's what you're saying, we should be accepting to it. We should be careful. Definitely no one wants to do mistake, but no one knows the future, right, Anika? Right? But I understand what you're saying, and you did not stop me. So, Digant, what's the last comment to those parents?
Uh, it was pretty much what Anika said. I was gonna say 2 points. I was gonna say you have to create a space for communication, where you listen to your kid and your kid also listens to you. Um, but you have to create a space where they feel safe enough to speak to you about things. Oh, I'm unsure about this. What should I do next?
Yes, yes.
Can I have your opinion? Do you
Mm,
have experience on this matter? Oh, আমি এই সিটিতে যে পড়তে চাই. What's your opinion? This, you know what I mean? Like you have to be able to. Your kids have to feel safe enough to speak to you in that area, in
That
that space.
comfort, that comfort zone. Yeah, that space. Yes, yes.
Yes, and communication is so important. Communication with your kids is so important because when there's no communication, they will go do stuff without you knowing. They'll do it
Yeah.
anyway. Would you rather have your kids hiding behind your back and doing things, or doing things and you're aware, right? Okay, I know my kid is gonna do this. At least I know that they can call me and if they need me or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Yes, 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 yes. Again. So again, parents, thank you. Digonto, thank you, Anika. I
Mm.
don't know what to say. We're listening, and we want, as a parent, not to judge. I don't want to judge my kid.
Oh,
But definitely,
I
মাঝে
did
মাঝে
want to make a second point, and also sometimes you have to just you have to let it go. You have to trust that your kids will find their way, which is the second
থ্যাংক
point.
ইউ থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ। আজকেই পড়ছিলাম এটা, নিউ ইয়র্ক টাইমস এর একটা নতুন আর্টিকেল এসেছে। লেট দেম, the idea is that what's the keyword for peaceful relationship? Let them. Your kid, yeah, they know actually. If he is having trouble, your kid, as a parent I am saying that Anika is having trouble, parents know. Yes, Diganto is having trouble, our kid is having trouble, I know. He will overcome. He is trying his best, she's trying her best to come. No one wants to stay in that deep shit, definitely uncomfortable zone. Everyone is trying to get up, but it takes time. It's not easy, you're working on your mental health, your physical health, your relationship, you're working on your career, you're working on what subject you're going to take, education and everything. And you're still right, space, you are confused, so you are reaching out. Yeah, but sometimes you are just it's 3 a.m. in the morning and you are listening to Linkin Park or some heavy metal music. No, 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 boom of the let them, they will come back, and keep them in your heart. And you guys, please keep them, your parents, in your heart. Thank you so much. We'll talk again later sometime. Take care. Good night.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Take care.